Hi, my name is Kim Carpenter, and I am an executive coach and marketing consultant for high-powered women business leaders and business owners who want to make a social impact through the work that they do. And I am actually living in Bali right now, which is a story in and of itself. But I was really attracted to doing Suzanne's course a few months ago when I was making the transition to living in Bali. I actually didn't intend to live in Bali, but I was in a place within my own business where I was completely overworked, exhausted, had lost my passion for life, really. I'd been diagnosed with adrenal fatigue and was just feeling like I'm totally burnt out. And so I intended to come to Bali on a 2-month sabbatical. And I did her course right at the time when I had just arrived in Bali for that 2-month sabbatical, because I really wanted to give myself the space to deepen into the experience of taking some time off and really looking at what my patterns were that created this overwork and overwhelm and exhaustion and adrenal fatigue. So it was actually really perfect timing. And I did the course even though the time change didn't really work out for me to be on the live calls. And I have to say that I still feel like I got 100% of the benefit watching all of the recordings, because the calls were happening at like 2 a.m. my time. So I did the exercises, I read everything and watched the program recordings from afar and participated in the Facebook group sharing, and it was totally transformational experience. I really felt called to work with Suzanne because though she is extremely spiritually attuned and works in this space of personal growth and transformation and really spiritual growth, she is an intellectual. She has a background in high-powered consulting, living in, I believe, France, and then has also experienced that feeling of overwhelm and pushing inside of a masculine paradigm that so many of us are working inside of. She experienced that firsthand. She came through that and developed her work out of that. She's one of the most highly educated people I know and brings this rigor around research and looking at a very deep level at our psychology, at our behaviors, what it takes to shift behavior. And then she's also incredibly attuned to spirit and to the unseen realm, right? The things that guide our lives that can't necessarily be measured. And so she brings both of those so beautifully into this program. And I haven't seen that anywhere else, really. So I appreciate that about her so much. So my overall experience of the program was this deepening into my feminine essence, which was my intention for coming to Bali all along. I said, I want to nurture my feminine soul. That was my mantra. That's what I said before I even arrived here. And so the course just so beautifully held me in that process and in that container. And it was so clear what to do each week to deepen into these different archetypes. And I feel like the way that Suzanne has structured the program, it just takes you on this beautiful journey. You don't really have to think about it. It's like, this is what you're doing this week. You know, you're looking at this aspect, the mother archetype, or the wise woman archetype, right? And so I just loved how she put it all together in this way that made sense, and I didn't have to try to grasp it, the content, you know, the combination of exercises, the field work, the homework, the reading, and watching the audio recordings or being on the live calls, being in the Facebook group and sharing and deepening there. It was just this full comprehensive container that held me in throughout the process. And, one of the things I love is that there's just like, here's what you do every day. You wake up in the morning, you light a candle at your altar, you say these things, you can breathe and do these kata movements that really, it was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And it worked. Like I felt like, and just at the right time, it was kind of magical how, just as I was dealing with something around feeling, left out or not a part of things, because I'm just new here and I'm kind of making friends and traveling alone, which is a little bit scary. And then there would be these gorgeous exercises right at that time around self-soothing and, nurturing and just listening to what my inner child needed, for example. So I just felt like it was the absolute perfect time for me to do the course. And it really helped me to move through the discomfort of being in a strange place, knowing that I'm here for a real purpose to come back to myself, to fill up my energy tanks that had really been depleted from overwork. And so in combination with giving myself the time and giving myself the gift of this course, by the time that it was done, I felt like a totally new woman. So I think this course would be amazing for any woman who is really feeling like there's a part of them that's being squelched somehow, that's not fully expressed, that they're having to behave one way at work and then they're able to kind of relax and be another way at home, or maybe there's no place where you're feeling relaxed enough to be all of who you are. This program really is for people who are feeling that contraction from our world, whether that's at work or, I have so many friends that are just feeling really disheartened by what's going on in the political scene and, not only in the United States, but other countries as well. And I think that this gives you the context for living an expansive life, living a free life, living a life where you can just be all of yourself all the time. You don't have to be only a part of yourself, or you have to cover up the feminine part of you in work in order to feel successful. If you feel like you're driving forward, or if you feel like you're pushing, or maybe even like me, you're feeling exhausted and depleted, and that you've lost your passion for life, this is definitely a pathway to finding more joy, more vibrancy, more aliveness. Where am I at now? Now I am actually making Bali my home. I am able to work with my clients from here. I am building my business, and actually through deepening into these different archetypes through the course, I am giving myself a whole lot more spaciousness to do my work. And actually, right now I'm working about 15 to 20 hours a week. I wake up in the morning, I have my client calls really early because of the time zone difference. And by around 10 or 11 o'clock, I'm done, and I have the rest of my day to just be and explore and travel and see Indonesia and different parts of Asia, and also get involved with philanthropic projects here on the ground, which is another big passion of mine, because for me, it really is about how can we use the vehicle of business to give back and make a contribution in the world. So I am just so grateful to have had the experience of this program, to have, as I said, the tools, the resources to come back to, which I do often, and having integrated this into my life, I have just created a whole entire new possibility for my life and for living in a way that nourishes me and also helps me be a better coach and consultant for my clients. Honestly, I feel like I'm doing the best coaching of my life. I feel like my tanks are entirely full, where before this they were entirely empty. And so it is really an amazing feeling to know that I'm on the right path.